The year is 751 AD. Two colossal empires, the eastward expanding Abbasid Caliphate and the westward expanding Tang dynasty of China, were on a collision course. Their spheres of influence had been creeping closer in the vast, contested lands of Central Asia. The flashpoint for their inevitable conflict arose from the complex politics of the region's city-states. The rulers of Fergana and Tashkent were embroiled in a dispute, and both sought powerful allies. The Tang dynasty, under the ambitious Emperor Xuanzong, had established a strong presence in the Tarim Basin. This presence projected its power deep into Central Asia. General Gao Xianqi, a brilliant military commander of Goguryeo descent, led the Tang service, commanded the Chinese forces with great skill. He had recently achieved stunning victories in the Pamir Mountains. These victories demonstrated the Tang army's capability for long-range power projection. On the other side, the newly established Abbasid Caliphate was eager to consolidate its power. They had recently overthrown the Umayyads. The Caliphate was also keen to continue its expansion. The Abbasid governor of Khorasan, Abu Muslim, was a key figure. He dispatched his skilled general Ziyad ibn Salih. Ziyad's mission was to counter the Chinese advance. The armies converged near the Talas River. This location is in modern-day Kyrgyzstan. The Tang army, though formidable, was a mosaic of different peoples. It included regular Tang troops. It also included allied mercenaries from various Central Asian kingdoms. Their numbers were significant. However, they were operating far from their primary supply bases. This presented a logistical challenge of immense proportions. The Abbasid army was similarly diverse. It was composed of Arab and Persian soldiers. It was also bolstered by local forces. These forces saw the Caliphate as a potential liberator from Chinese dominance. A crucial element was the presence of Karluk Turks. The Karluks were initially allied with the Tang dynasty. The battle commenced with great intensity. For several days, the two armies clashed in a brutal struggle. The conflict was indecisive for a long time. The tactical genius of Gao Xianqi was on full display. The discipline of the Tang soldiers was remarkable. These strengths were matched by the fervor of the Abbasid forces. The Abbasids also employed heavy cavalry charges effectively. The valley echoed with the sounds of steel. The cries of men filled the air. The thunder of hooves was a constant roar. The Tang crossbowmen unleashed volleys of bolts. This created a deadly storm for the advancing Abbasid infantry. The Abbasid cavalry was renowned for its mobility. It was also known for its shock value. They maneuvered to flank the Tang lines. The fighting was a stalemate. It was a bloody testament to the military prowess of both empires. Neither side could gain a decisive advantage. The ground was littered with the fallen. The river itself was said to run red with blood. The turning point came unexpectedly. The Karluk Turks were a nomadic Turkic people. They had been fighting alongside the Tang. Suddenly, they switched their allegiance. In the midst of a heated engagement, the Karluks turned on their former allies. They attacked the Tang army from the rear. The reasons for this betrayal are debated by historians. Some suggest a prearranged agreement with the Abbasids. Others point to internal disputes within the Tang coalition. The promise of greater rewards from the Abbasids might have been a factor. This sudden attack plunged the Tang forces into chaos. Their lines were already strained by the frontal assault of the Abbasids. The betrayal caused their formation to completely collapse. What had been an organized battle devolved into a desperate rout. General Gao Xianqi saw the catastrophic turn of events. He managed to escape with only a handful of his elite troops. The vast majority of the Tang army was not so fortunate. They were either cut down on the battlefield or captured. The defeat was a disaster for the Tang dynasty. It shattered their Central Asian ambitions. Thousands of skilled soldiers were lost. Many talented craftsmen were also taken prisoner by the Abbasids. The road to further westward expansion for the Tang was now closed. The immediate aftermath was a decisive victory for the Abbasid Caliphate. They solidified their control over Transoxiana. This is the region beyond the Oxus River. The influence of the Tang dynasty in Central Asia waned significantly. This created a power vacuum. The vacuum would be filled by Turkic and Islamic powers in the centuries to come. However, the Abbasids themselves did not push further east. They did not advance into Tang territory. The logistical difficulties of campaigning so far from their heartland were immense. Internal pressures within the caliphate also played a role. These factors halted their advance. The Battle of Talas, therefore, did not lead to a direct conquest of China by the Arabs. Instead, it established a relatively stable frontier. This frontier between the two civilizations was, however, still contested. Perhaps the most significant consequence of the battle was cultural. It was also profoundly technological. Among the thousands of Tang prisoners were skilled artisans. These included master papermakers. Until this point, the art of papermaking was a closely guarded secret. It was known only within China. The captured craftsmen were taken to Samarkand. Samarkand was a major city within the Abbasid Caliphate. There, they were compelled to establish the first paper mills. These were the first such mills outside of China. The introduction of paper to the Islamic world was a revolutionary event. Paper was far cheaper to produce than parchment. It was also more efficient than papyrus. Parchment and papyrus were the writing materials predominantly used in the West. They were also common in the Middle East at the time. The availability of affordable paper fueled an explosion of knowledge. This spurred a great age of learning throughout the Islamic world. This period became known as the Islamic Golden Age. Libraries began to flourish across the caliphate. Schools and universities were established in major cities. Administrative centers became more efficient. Scholars translated Greek texts into Arabic. They also translated Persian and Indian works. Preserved and expanded upon ancient knowledge. The technology of papermaking spread from Samarkand. It moved westward through Baghdad and Damascus. It eventually reached Cairo. From there, it entered Europe via Islamic Spain. It also spread through Sicily in the 12th century. This transmission of technology was a direct result of the clash at Talas. It would ultimately help fuel the Renaissance in Europe. The battle also had a profound impact on the religious landscape. The religious makeup of Central Asia was changed forever. The Tang dynasty had been patrons of Buddhism. With their retreat, the spread of Islam accelerated. Turkic peoples began to convert to Islam. This included the Karluks, who had played such a pivotal role in the battle. They converted in large numbers. Over the following centuries, Central Asia would transform. It had been a diverse region of Buddhists and Nestorians. Manichaeans and Shamanists also had a strong presence. It would become a core part of the Islamic world. The Battle of Talas is often overlooked in Western historiography. Western history tends to focus on conflicts between the Islamic world and Christian Europe. However, its importance cannot be overstated. It was a pivotal moment in world history. It defined the easternmost extent of the Islamic Caliphate's expansion. It also marked the westernmost reach of the Tang dynasty's power. It redrew the political map of Central Asia. It also reshaped the cultural and religious map of the region. The battle marked the end of one era. It signified the beginning of another. It set the stage for the rise of Turkic empires. It also paved the way for the flourishing of Islamic civilization. Civilization blossomed in the heart of the Eurasian continent. It was a clash of titans. The battle had an unintended consequence of technological transfer. This transfer helped to shape the intellectual trajectory of the entire world. The echoes of this distant battle can still be felt. It occurred in a remote river valley. Its legacy can be seen in the very pages of the books we read today. The knowledge transfer it sparked was immense. The world was forever changed by this single conflict. The balance of power shifted decisively. New empires would rise from the ashes of the old. The Silk Road's dynamics were altered. The flow of goods, ideas, and people continued, but under new management.